The New York Times has been pulled up by a House committee in the United States for its reportage of the terror attack in J&K's Pahalgam, in which 26 people, including a foreign national, were shot dead after being asked to prove their allegiance to Islam. The attack, for which a Pakistan-based terror group, the Resistance Front, an offshoot of banned LET, claimed responsibility, was reported by the New York Times as a militant attack. An introduction to the report also said that it was Prime Minister Modi who said that it was a terror attack. Now, let's go straight across to Vishal on this. Vishal, the United States government has strongly criticized the New York Times for its coverage of the recent terror attack in Pahalgam. They've called this a militant attack instead of terror attack, while NYT seems to be removed from reality and their hypocrisy is being exposed. US government, which has extended its full support to India, has condemned this and slammed the publication.
Absolutely correct. New York Times has been pulled up in the recent past, in the last 1 or 2 years, on similar instances, and this instance as well, they have termed terrorism incident as a militant incident. But there are, for the benefit of our viewers, there are definite definitions of these words. As far as militancy is concerned, it usually refers to an armed rebellion from within a state in order to achieve a political or social outcome, whereas terrorism has an external context where a calculated use of violence creates climate of fear in the particular geography in order to achieve those outcomes. So there's substantial difference between both the words, and a lot of times US media organizations have been pulled up by the US government and some other governments as well for the use of the word militants instead of the use of the word terrorism. And there have been controversies over them, but they continue to use the word, and there have been a lot of controversies. They have been said that they're trying to water down the issue. The issue is quite bigger. You can't just use the word militants and just water it down. So these things have been going on. The US government itself has slammed the media and pulled it up and said that it's just terrorism, plain and simple. That's the whole case.
Absolutely. It is terrorism, plain and simple. In fact, we're joined by Major General Sanjay Soy, who is a retired defense and international affairs expert. Thank you, Vishal, for those details. General Soy, my question really is, first of all, the New York Times has been pulled up by the US government for its reportage of the terror attack in Pahalgam. Perpetrators being called as militants instead of terrorists. This is certainly indicative of, global media's understanding and hypocrisy as far as the response to such attacks are concerned. How do you see this reportage and the response to it?
Absolutely, Radhika. Thanks a lot for calling me. In fact, I would also say that in some cases I've read suspected militant attack. I mean, suspected. Everything is so clear. It is a terror attack, and there are videos available, there are recordings available, and then also you call it suspected militant attack. I mean, it is absolutely would say shame on their journalists. They're not fair. They have to be clear. They have to be fair to everybody, and they cannot just say wash their hands off and play in the hands of some particular community or particular powers. So I would say that rightly said, the Indian government should also take up a case, and US government has already done it. I think a very right action, and they have to be pulled up for this kind of narration of incident.
Absolutely. General Soy, as you said, the US has, of course, pulled up the publication over this. And this is not the first time that certain global publications have mentioned, militancy instead of terrorism. Do you see this becoming a larger diplomatic issue between India, US, and perhaps the global press institutions?
In fact, Radhika, I would say that at present, US is standing with India in fight against terror. So, not one, like if you see the return of Tahabur Rana, was one major example of US supporting the Trump is with India. And in this case also, they have condemned the terror attack in Pahalgam. And US has already pulled up the New York Times. So, we have to again urge US government and as well as take up case with the press council so that these kinds of reports. People are refrained from giving this kind of report, which probably shows a bias, which mellows down the dastardly act, and this cannot be accepted, Radhika.
Absolutely, the reportage cannot be accepted, but thankfully the US government themselves have pulled up NYT over its choice of words. Thank you.